Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Athletics Open House tonight on this snowy evening from Ashburnham, Massachusetts. We really appreciate you joining us tonight, and we're thrilled to be hosting you as we try to share our campus experience and allow you to really explore what being a student athlete and a member of our community is like here at Cushing Academy. But before we start you on this evening's program, I want to take a moment to officially welcome you to the Academy, albeit virtually. My name is Dr. Randy Burton. I'm head of school here at Cushing. I'm in my third year, and I look forward to meeting each and every one of you through the admissions process as you learn more and more about Cushing Academy. And tonight can be the first step in that process. You'll have the opportunity to hear from some current students, meet coaches and faculty, and really just get to experience the school, what it's like and what it means to be a student and an athlete here, and hopefully determine if you can see yourself here and if our team is the right place for you. And as you do that, I'd like you to keep a couple of things in mind. The first is that I know you've done your research and you have all the metrics in your mind about what sports we offer, how successful they are, how many AP classes we have, and all the other stats on campus, maybe even as one of the students on the panel tonight. And then think about, is this the right place? Ask yourself if this is the place where you have that feeling of best fit, and if this school and our athletic program is a match for you. Now, in these unusual times, I know that picking a future school and future coaches and teammates is different than in the past, and hopefully it won't be long before you can visit campus in person soon and even see a game. But for now, I want you to take all that you know about us and then enter tonight's dialogue, leaving room for that internal voice to say, is this the right place for me? Or do I feel like I can be part of this community and this team? And that's a difficult thing to determine. At the beginning of the school year, at our opening academic convocation, I told our students that what is required for all of us in this unique school year isn't necessarily complete success in all aspects of our life on campus, but that success this year will be defined by each student's effort towards our common goals, working towards the commitment of personal success and the overall growth of our Cushing community, which here is our first team. As athletes, I know you've experienced wins and losses, joy, disappointment, all through competition. And so you're definitely aware that as individuals and as teams, we may not accomplish all that we set out to do. As athletes, you know that. But at Cushing, one of the first things we ask is to give your best effort anyway. So tonight, I ask you to really try to get into this experience. I know it's hard and difficult to imagine a school community and athletic program for that matter through Zoom, although we're all getting better at it, but really try to immerse yourself in this experience. And I'd also like you to talk to our students. You'll hear from me, you'll talk to coaches who you'll meet in a few minutes, many of whom are teachers, but try to really speak to those students who are experiencing the school that are on this panel tonight and who are on our teams. Ask them tough questions. I think what you'll hear, and certainly what I've heard when I've had these conversations with both current students and alumni, are stories of transformation. Stories of students coming to the school interested in one area of study or even one particular sport and blossoming in that area, but also developing passions in other areas. And that's something we ask all of our students to embrace. Because what I really love about Cushing is that we're a heterogeneous group of students with varied interests and backgrounds. We're not only students and not only athletes, but we are students and athletes. And many times, actors, musicians, leaders, scientists, writers, mathematicians, linguists, historians, and even dreamers. And when all of that comes together, it really makes us the special community that we are. The whole here is definitely greater than the sum of its parts. At Cushing, all students have a responsibility towards the entire community, that first team that I mentioned earlier. And in many ways, as a student, your entrance to that team starts here, maybe even tonight. And even though it may start over Zoom, as I said before, try to imagine being a part of the Cushing team as you take part in our program. Because you're here because Cushing's a possibility for you. So I'd like you to see if what you found in your initial research, which I talked about earlier, is true, and then leave room for that feeling of, is this right for me? Can I see myself as part of this community and its athletic program? Ask the students on the panel tonight your questions. Learn about their stories. Why are they here? What are their transformations? What has made this a special experience for them? And parents tonight, ask those same questions as well. I know as a parent of 3 children at Cushing Academy myself in grades 9, 11, and 12, I've been fortunate to have them as a part of our community and our athletic program. And I'm excited to watch them and our entire community of students grow, develop, and transform into better students, athletes, and people, all while being supported by the most talented and professional group of faculty and coaches I've had the privilege of working with. These professionals, many of whom you'll meet in just a few moments, work with our students all day, every day, as the learning does not stop at 3 o'clock. Our program is the classroom, the playing field, the ice rink, gymnasium, and all of our other programs and dormitories, which is just one of the many advantages of attending a boarding school. I hope you see that the curriculum here is in every aspect of each student's experience. It is everything we do with intention. And when I speak of growth and achieving goals, it not only applies to students in our programs, but also to our campus. In the last 4 years, Cushing has undergone a surge of building and transformation that is unmatched, as we have completed construction of a state-of-the-art athletic center, a complete renovation of our ice arena, two new 45-room all-single dormitories, a renovation of 2 additional dorms, as well as a new student center, cafeteria, kitchen, and servery. And we are also about to complete a brand new 60-bed dormitory, which is set to open or set to be finished in only a few weeks. Growth in progress is a mantra not only to describe our students, but also our campus. So if you think you can commit to this team, one that prioritizes your personal growth, not only in academics, but also athletics, and while you're participating tonight, leave room in your heart for that special feeling to know if Cushing Academy is the right place for you, then I think we're going to have a successful evening together. Enjoy this virtual visit. I look forward to speaking with each and every one of you throughout the admissions process. And now I'd like to turn it over to Cushing's Director of Athletics, Ms. Jennifer Viana. Jen?
Thank you, Dr. Burton. Welcome. We're happy to have you here tonight. Our goal is to give you more information on our athletics programs and what Cushing Academy Athletics is all about. And before the coaches introduce themselves and our student athletes, who I know you really want to hear from, I'm going to take you through a few slides, which I think you're going to find helpful. So who are we? Our student athletes are students first, and they're incredibly well-rounded. And like Dr. Burton said, they're musicians and artists and actors and dancers. And what's great about Cushing is they don't have to choose between their passions. And we encourage them to pursue their interests, whether it's Pride, STEAM Club, and Open Doors. And our students find time on Sunday mornings to go to Special Olympics, which is an incredible program. A couple of our athletes on here have been there before. The Dana-Farber Cancer Research Institute, we do a Pink the Rink event for hockey, and we do a Stick It to Cancer event for field hockey. Our athletes are leaders in the community, and it's also demonstrated in the classroom and on their respective teams. Our #1 goal as our staff and athletics department is to provide the best possible experience for our student athletes. We want them to be able to be active and compete at a high level where they'll develop their skills, they'll have fun, they'll be active, and hopefully want to have lifelong commitment to fitness and make lifelong friends. We have the pleasure of watching our student athletes transform over their time here, and they leave a better person than when they got here. And in a moment, I'll share about our athletics philosophy. But first, I'd like to show you our slideshow and the sports that we offer. So you can see over here in the fall, these are the sports that we offer. In the middle shows the winter, and on the right shows our spring sports. We have 3 levels for the boys. We have varsity, which is our highest level, and those are experienced players. We have JV, which is really developmental, learning the game, developing skills. And thirds are even more developmental. Maybe they've never played before, they're trying the sport for the first time, and they're really out there to have some fun. For the seasons in fall, the varsity teams return the very end of August to the beginning of September, and they will go through early November or mid-November, depending on playoffs and how far they go in the tournaments. In the winter, those sports will pick up first week November, middle, and go all the way till late February, early March. again, pending tournament play. And in the spring, when they return from spring break, they'll go through May. And Cushing is a member of the NEPSAC, which is a New England Prep School Athletic Council. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our athletics philosophy and what we believe in and what we value. We believe athletics is an extension of the classroom, and what better way to teach life skills than through athletics. We want them to learn teamwork and time management, how to be selfless teammates, resiliency, how to rise to the occasion, and how to problem solve. We value sportsmanship, where we respect each other and our teammates, our opponents, the coaches and officials, and most importantly, the spirit of the game. We value accountability, where student athletes are responsible for their own actions, their effort, and their commitment to their teams. And like I mentioned earlier, we hope they have so much fun on their teams and they enjoy physical activity that they become lifelong, they commit to lifelong fitness. Our Cushing coaches are the best. We cannot have this program without them. A lot of them are former Division I, Division II athletes, and they're incredibly committed and invested not only to developing you as an athlete, but also as a person. They work incredibly hard to create a family atmosphere, and they will challenge you, but you will develop as a player and you will have fun. We also have many multi-sport athletes who will have the opportunity to cross-train, but also sport. The goal of the athletics requirement is to engage in physical activity in a team and group environment. Day-to-day logistics. What does a week look like? What does a day look like? So our student athletes are practicing at least 5 days a week, with games generally on Wednesdays and Saturdays and sometimes sprinkled in a few Fridays. They practice after school for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And they'll travel to schools in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Maine, and New Hampshire. And usually the games are within an hour, but it may go up to 2 hours. On Wednesdays, we get out of school early so that we can get on the road and play our games and be done in time for dinner and then be able to head off to study hall. We have an athletic training room that is absolutely beautiful in a Watkins Fieldhouse, and I'll show you that in a few moments. And we have 2 full-time trainers that are available for all of our student athletes on all levels. They are there from the beginning of practice, through practice, and through the end of practice. And they're there to tape, ice, stim, cryo tub, and they're also available for any injuries and rehab for any of our student athletes that need it. We issue practice gear, Cushing, we call them purple and grays. And we issue sets to our student athletes, and we also wash them as well as uniforms, and we put them back in the locker rooms. Power Source is a professional company of strength and conditioning coaches that we hire to work with our teams. And they will do team-specific workouts. So a basketball workout might be different than a baseball workout, then different than a hockey workout. And the strength and conditioning coaches are available not only during a time when you go in there with your team, but after around 5 o'clock, 5:30, they're still down there and you have an opportunity to work with a strength and conditioning coach one-on-one. For nutrition, we have Brock as our dining hall vendor, and they have a nutritionist that will work with our student athletes either one-on-one, or your coaches might arrange for your team to meet with her to learn how to fuel your body for your best performance. We are also incredibly fortunate to have someone on staff. Julia ALLAIN is our varsity girls soccer coach, and she'll introduce herself in a few moments. She does sports mental training. She has a master's in sports psychology, and she will work with our student athletes one-on-one, or she'll also do some exercise with our teams. And some of our coaches have actually worked with her on our panel. And she might do goal setting or team bonding or whatever the coach feels that the team needs at the time. Live stream. So we live stream our varsity games. We have 2 gymnasiums that will both have cameras and a videographer who will live stream the games, not only for parents and families to be able to watch the games, but for coaches to be able to break down the film and then also upload it to Huddle so our student athletes can create highlight videos for college coaches. Okay, I'm going to take you through a virtual tour now. This is beautiful Watkins Fieldhouse, which was built in 2016. And over here, if you can see my mouse, this is where my office is. And over here is the strength and conditioning room. And I'll show you some pictures. Over here is the athletic training room. We have two side-by-side courts here. This level is the main entrance to go into the gymnasium. Up here is a fitness center, and off of the fitness center is a yoga room. This is a beautiful picture of Watkins Fieldhouse at night, but this is where I was showing you that angle, and now we're over here in the front. So this is the main entrance where you would go into the fieldhouse, into the gymnasium. Here's the fitness center, the yoga room, and then some windows here that you can actually watch practices and games. So it's kind of neat. This is a strength and conditioning room. It has all the equipment that you need to get bigger, better, faster, stronger. And this is a picture of the varsity boys soccer team in action with our Power Source strength and conditioning coach. This is the third floor, the fitness center. So we have everything from bikes and ellipticals to treadmills and rowers and free weights. And this is available after you have practice. So if you want to get a quick workout in before you go to dinner, this is available. And off of this room is the yoga center, the yoga room. Here's one of the Fieldhouse locker rooms. This is the athletic training room that I was telling you about. So here are some of the tables. Here's our basketball team in action. And you can see all the fans. And up here is actually a curtain that drops down so we can do side-by-side practices if we needed to or wanted to. Here is a picture of our incredible Penguin fans who are diehard to watch our teams, and they travel around campus, and they'll even travel to away games, some big away games that our Director of Student Activities, Donnie Connors, will put together some transportation. So we take care of our kids. Our teams want their fans to be there, so when we can do that, we certainly offer it. This is Quimby Field. This is a beautiful turf. This is over here is where the softball field is. And you can see that we have lights. So if we have any night practices or games. And here's a soccer player on the turf. Here is Adams Field. Over here, you can see the baseball field. And this is a grass field. And soccer teams will practice over here as well. Here's our baseball team in action. We have a tennis program, so we have upper courts and lower courts, and there's 3 courts up here and 3 down on the lower campus. This is Iorio Ice Arena, which was completely gutted and renovated just a couple years ago. It's very impressive. Here's a panoramic view of the ice. We have the bleachers, and over here we have what we call the podium room, where we have a lot of college coaches and scouts come out and watch. This is a locker room. I mean, this is unbelievable. This is better than most colleges. Our varsity boys hockey team and our varsity girls hockey team both have the same sort of mirror image of these lockers. And this is our spin room, which is also in the same facility, and it might be used for a class, or a lot of our athletes will actually use it to warm up or warm down. So that is the virtual tour. And I will have Casey FTOREK, who is our head varsity soccer coach, introduce himself.
Hello and good evening. My name is Casey FTOREK, and I coach the boys varsity soccer team. I'm also a history teacher and dorm faculty in Ash House. I attended boarding school as a student and have always appreciated how influential my experience was in my own life. So I have made my way back as an adult. After playing soccer and hockey in college, I began working in prep schools about 12 years ago. I have been at Cushing for the past 2 years, and I'm excited to continue building on our past successes, whether that is college placements, individual successes on and off the field, or with team success with wins and losses. I look forward to answering any questions that you may have, and I'm going to pass it along to Sterling INCE.
Good evening. My name is Sterling INCE, and I coach cross country and track and field. I also teach English as a second language and Spanish. This is my 21st year at Cushing Academy. One of the things that I most enjoy about coaching here is that I coach two sports which are co-ed. I also coach the girls team, and although we compete separately, we train in the same places, locations together a lot of the time, and we go to a lot of the same competitions. So in addition to coaching both boys and girls, I also enjoy the fact that the track and field and cross country teams involved athletes, some of whom will go on to compete at the highest level, the Division I level, and there are some who simply are trying to do a sport for the first time. So we have people who enter the school without ever having competed in cross country or track and field, and who actually go on and continue to practice those sports after they've graduated from Cushing Academy. It brings me as much pleasure to see a former athlete who's gone on to enjoy some sort of collegiate success or professional success as it does to hear from an athlete who years after graduation tells me that they've just completed their first marathon. I'm also looking forward to answering any questions that you may have later on this evening. Welcome.
And Pat, we all set? So I'm Coach Cormier. This is my 5th year here as the boys varsity basketball coach. I live here on campus with my wife, Steph, and my dog, Ellie. I work in the admission office as an assistant director. And I arrived here in 2016 from Dartmouth College. There I was an assistant coach in charge of recruiting and player development. And since 2016, we've had a good run. Our record is 90 wins and 23 losses in a very competitive league, the NEPSAC AA, which is widely considered one of the best leagues in the country. In the last 4 years, we've had 2 regular season championships and 1 postseason championship. And again, that's within that NEPSAC AA league. There's 15 other teams, very competitive from top to bottom. And it's, accomplishment just making the tournament, the top 8 of that league. In 2017, we qualified for the National Prep Championship for the first time in school history. And then again in 2020. So 2 great achievements there. And that's the top 12 prep school teams in the country. In addition to the difficult NEPSAC AA schedule that we play in some of the most highly competitive and heavily attended events by scouts and college coaches in the country. On the recruiting front, and we can, again, talk more about this as we answer some questions, and I'm sure you guys will have some specific, you basketball folks out there, but we're really just looking for great kids, gym rats, kids that have potential and upside, tough, mentally, physically, kids that want to get better. Those are the kids that are going to enjoy their experience and have a successful career here and then afterwards. And then in terms of skill set, we're looking for kids that have versatility, can pass, shoot, and dribble, great teammates, and again, kids that are willing to work. Player development is absolutely the most important part of what we do. We are a prep school and we're preparing these kids to play college athletics. So the winning and the success over the last 4 years is absolutely a byproduct of the work we've put in the player development front. We use a slogan, and it's been with us since 2016 when we started, and it's just simple, better every day. And we live this. We believe improving and developing strong habits as students and as people is certainly going to translate to the floor. And it's just a way for us to stay accountable to that mission each and every day. On the college placement front, we absolutely help with that. We know that's, a big reason why people do decide to make the transition to prep school. The strong winning tradition well before I got here, and what we've been able to continue at Cushing certainly helps. We have a strong reputation with college coaches, and they'll regularly attend preseason, practices and games, of course. And then we have a great asset in my father, who's actually my volunteer assistant and has spent many, many years as a Division I head coach and in the NBA as well. And to give you a sense about matriculation in the last 5 years, we have kids at Boston College, Miami, Virginia Tech, Providence, East Carolina, Niagara, Boston U, Duquesne, VMI, Brown, and Cornell. And then equally as impressive, some of the best academic Division IIIs in the country as well. Middlebury, Babson, St. Lawrence, Colby, McAllister, Trinity, and Williams. And to give you an idea about how many kids play in 2020, it was a ridiculously large class of 9 seniors. Generally speaking, there's about 4 or 5 kids graduating each year, but 8 of those 9 kids, student athletes, went on to play collegiately. In addition to the varsity program, we offer a JV and a JV2 program, and those coaches and I work closely to have consistent philosophies and practice plans and even some play schemes and designs. And that's going to make it easier if we do have a student athlete that develops and wants to take advantage of playing in that varsity program. So again, happy to answer you guys' questions. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. And next up, we have our boys varsity hockey coach, Steve Jacobs.
Good evening. Where am I? Am I up? Good evening and welcome. I'm Steve Jacobs. I'm the varsity hockey coach here. I've been here I started in 1985 and went for 23 years, took a little time off to coach elsewhere, and then came back. And this is my 4th year back. I've been coaching hockey for 42 years. I oversee the hockey program at Cushing, our 3 teams. All of our teams are, our goal is to develop every single student athlete in our program. And at the varsity level that I coach, we have, many international level players. You can tell by what Coach Cormier was saying that our kids are rubbing shoulders with high level players, kids with big dreams that work very hard and have tremendous passion, such as Lucas Gustafson, who's a student that you can ask questions to, that's on here tonight, who is committed to Boston College and was just named to the NHL Central Scouting Player to Watch list. And then we have, so our varsity team, we have 7 players that are committed for scholarships for next year. We have about 12 kids playing at every level in college right now. And we have 7 players in the NHL right now. So our program is strong. It's focused on development. As Coach Cormier said, our main focus is development and embracing your potential to get to the next level. We work very hard. We have a crew of passionate coaches that will do anything they can to help our students. We challenge our kids every day. We play the best schedule we can. We have fun. We're positive. Our environment is such that we think it's by having fun and being a great teammate, that's the best environment to develop in. We've had great success with our program. We have a long tradition and a great culture. We've won 3 New England championships. We've won 30 in-season tournaments. And we've been able to move players up through our program that get chances to play at great colleges. We've had about 70 professional hockey players. And again, our program we're geared toward getting you to the next level. We want you to have an opportunity to play in college somewhere. And we'll do everything we can to help you. I'm here to answer questions. I've Zoomed with many of you already. I see a lot of names on the list, and I'm looking forward to answer and giving information to everyone else that I haven't had a chance to Zoom with. And we're very excited about the quality of our candidates. We have great student athletes interested in coming. We want our kids to be great. We want our kids to be leaders in the community. We talk about it every day. So again, welcome, and I look forward to answering any questions as we move forward here tonight. And let me introduce Coach SUCHANEK, varsity baseball coach.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Welcome to everybody. It's certainly a different vibe talking to the computer screen as we've been accustomed to doing here the last year plus. One thing I really miss most is being able to sit in admissions and be able to get to know the families and know the applicants. So again, I do miss that. You know, it's one part of the job that I enjoy. Had a lot of great conversations up to this point, and I see that some of you are in the crowd tonight. So again, thanks for taking time. Certainly, my name is Ryan Shushnik. This is my 14th year here at Cushing. I have taught math. I've coached football. I've coached JV baseball, and for the last will be my 6th year as head baseball coach. As a lot of the coaches prior have spoken about, you know, we believe in developing, you know, our student athletes. You know, Coach Jacobs just came before me, and you know, a lot of our baseball players cross over and compete at high levels on the baseball diamond for us every spring. You know, it's you know, back to our philosophy of the multi-sport athlete. You know, I'm a huge believer of it. You know, I feel that it makes you a better overall athlete. You know, we value those that want to compete and want to, you know, give back and contribute in many different ways, not just on the field or the ice, but in the dormitory, in the classroom. That's what makes Cushing special. You know, those are the success stories that we've heard through the tonight, but obviously that I've seen through my 14 years here at Cushing. You know, we play at a high level. We play in the Central New England Prep School League. You know, every time we go out, you know, we're lining up against top competition in New England. So again, looking forward to answering any questions that anybody may have and learning more about you all, and hopefully with us here at Cushing tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to Cole Franklin, our head lacrosse coach.
Hey, Coach Franklin, boys lacrosse. So this is my 3rd year with Cushing Academy. I entered the boarding school world after playing college lacrosse. You know, it's been a real pleasure, you know, helping our student athletes, our lacrosse players specifically, academically, athletically, and socially. Watching them grow and go off and play, you know, college lacrosse at Division 1, 2, and 3 level. We have some guys who are multi-sport guys, so it's been a pleasure seeing other guys go off and play college sports as well. So yeah, it's you know, it's the students who make the school. Really makes Cushing a special place, and looking forward to answering any questions anyone may have. So up next is Coach Couplebeck with golf.
Good evening, everyone. Been at Cushing for over 30 years. I grew up at Cushing. My mom worked here. You know, it's family. Proud parent. Son graduated in 2016. I teach AP Physics, Advanced Engineering, and Physics. Lived in just about every dormitory on campus. Was the varsity baseball coach here at one time. Was the varsity basketball coach here at one time. I'm the summer athletic director. I spend as much time as I can at Cushing in trying to be part of the athletic program. I'll wash your laundry for you, you know, whatever it takes to get you here. You know, you know, Cushing to me is about family. And as you look at all the coaches here, they want to bring out the best in you, and they want you to be a part of this Cushing family. Our golf program, you know, it started in 1992. You know, we've had very, very successful program. We play at Oak Hill Country Club, which is in Fitchburg, Mass. It's hosted professional tournaments. There's a club pro there who will work with you. I'll work with you. You know, it's the little things in golf. You know, working on your short game, your ball striking, your course management, things like that. You know, it's not just driving the ball 300 yards. You know, it's that sport that you have to be more mentally tough than physically tough. You know, so it's one of those games that you can play forever. You can play with your parents, you can play with your grandparents, you can play with your kids, you can play with your friends, you can practice alone. So if you haven't picked up a golf club yet, I recommend you do, because you'll love it. It's a sport you can play forever. Our team is co-ed. We've got people who've played at Elon College. Our recent grad has played in the Mass Amateur this year. You know, not the junior Mass Amateur, the regular Mass Amateur. He's going on to Temple University. You know, Ursinus College, way out Oregon State. Susie Kavanaugh played for our hockey team and killed it over there at Oregon State. She was the Rhode Island state champion. So, you know, we will work with you. If we have bad weather, we have practice facility. We can hit into practice nets. You know, hopefully the weather will, you know, continue to be nice to us. You know, we had a little snow here today, but, you know, once those courses dry up, we're out there, we're practicing every day, working on your game. So it's one of those games, as I said before, you can play forever. You know, again, be that multi-sport athlete, contribute, because it's a game that you can love, and again, play forever. So looking forward to answer any questions. We play in the spring. A lot of schools play in the fall. So if you're a lacrosse player, obviously it's not going to fit in your schedule, but you know, if you've or a baseball player, because a lot of you can play that in the fall at your other school. But if at some point you have questions about the golf program and you're here, look me up and I'll be more than happy to tell you more about it if I can't answer your questions tonight. And then I'd like to turn it over to Miss Julia Lane, our sports psychology director.
Hi, my name is Julia Lane. I am the girls varsity soccer coach here at Cushing, but I also teach psychology. And as Jen had mentioned in her presentation, my background's in sports psychology. So this is also my second year at Cushing, and prior to coming to Cushing, I worked independently with a variety of prep school and collegiate athletes and athletes that were competing both at the national and international level. And coming to Cushing, I was really excited to bring that passion along with me and continue to grow that and implement it in a lot of different ways here at Cushing. So I meet with teams, I meet with athletes individually, I do small group sessions, and I'm really excited to continue to offer it and continue to grow it here. So I'm happy to answer any questions anyone may have about it.
Great, thank you. And love to hear from our students. Jaden, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Oops.
You're good.
All right. Hi, I'm Jaden Bobbett. I'm a senior at Cushing, and I'm also the captain of the boys varsity basketball team. I've been at Cushing for 3 years, and I recently just committed to Middlebury College in Vermont. I'm looking forward to answering all the questions that you guys may have about our athletic programs tonight, and can't wait.
Great, Brian.
Hi, I am Brian LeMay. I am a four-year senior. I'm also a day student. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. I have been a part of the boys varsity lacrosse team all 4 years I've been here. And then I've also been a part of the varsity B boys hockey team. And I recently committed this past fall to play lacrosse at Bentley University.
Great, thank you very much. Lucas, you want to finish us off?
Yeah, I'm Lucas Gustafson. I'm a captain of the boys varsity hockey team. This is my third year here, and I'm a senior. And I'd like to be happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Great, thank you. Well, I want to turn it over to our attendees now. We have a large group here tonight and want to have some time and opportunity to answer all of your questions. And certainly I'll look at those and give them to the coaches who are with us tonight, or Ms. Viana, our athletic director, or I can chime in. And so please use the Q&A feature in your Zoom screen, get those to us. I know some of you ask questions ahead of time, so I will begin, but definitely don't hesitate to do that, and we'll get through it and hopefully answer all of your questions. So question, Ms. Viana, maybe you could help us out with this. How many student athletes go to Cushing in total, and then how many of those end up playing varsity? And I know you probably don't have an exact number, but sort of Just give us a ballpark.
Sure. So in a non-COVID year, we have close to, I believe, 390. And I think a lot of students come in, as they're younger, they've played a lot of sports. So maybe they think they're going to come in and focus on one, but they often play another sport. I can tell all three. So Lucas, I believe you played golf, and Brian's played hockey, and though lacrosse is his first sport, and Jaden played football. So these student athletes are incredibly athletic, and they really make a big impact on our teams. And they'll also find that they have friends that play. So maybe I play hockey and one of my best buds is going to play lacrosse. I might play that as well. So it just depends on the athlete. Some do focus on just one, but a lot of our athletes definitely play two and take advantage of the sports that we have.
Great. No, thank you. Brian, question for you, day student, particular question, but also to do with sports. As a day student, how do you fit sports into your schedule at Cushing? Is it different than a boarding student?
For me, honestly, being a day student isn't any different than it would be for a boarding student. I'm there almost all day, every day. So I usually just get as much of my schoolwork done as possible when I have time throughout the day. And then I'll get to go to practice after classes. Sometimes I'll stick around for dinner afterwards to eat with my teammates or any of my friends. And then usually I'll go home for the night. And then on Wednesdays and Saturdays, when we play games, I'll get there early if we're traveling, and then earlier even if we have a home game and it's just there preparing for the game.
Great. No, thank you. Lucas, question for you as a varsity hockey player. The question is, what's a normal day in the life for a varsity hockey player at Cushing?
Usually like you wake up and then class starts at 8:30, and then you have class till like 3:30, and then usually we head up to the rink, and then we have practice at 4 to 5:30, and then go to dinner after that, hang out with some friends till we have check-in at 7:30, and then study hall from 8 to 10 where I get most of my work done.
Great, great. And Lucas, a follow-up question to that. Can you talk a little bit about, and in a non-COVID year, sort of training in the off season, what that is like? Did there opportunities outside the season to play hockey?
Yeah, so in the fall we have a split season team that we'll skate with twice a week, and then we'll have games on the weekend. And Cushing is really good about letting us train during the off season. We'll also have team lifts twice a week, and then like I said, on the weekends you'll have games where you'll play with most of the Cushing hockey players, and you'll like build a chemistry with them.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Coach Jacobs, anything you want to add? There's an additional question for if somebody's looking at Cushing or another school. What do we do for skill development, not only in the season, but in the off season? Oh, you're muted, Steve. All good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Yes, so we, so a lot of people ask this question about the summertime, and you know, what we do is we work with Power Source, our strength and conditioning coaches, and we give our players a program to train with, and then our staff, myself and Power Source, will frequently be in touch with our players, make sure they're doing the work. If they have any questions, they reach out to them. We test when we arrive. We test in the spring. So in the summer, it's, you know, the goal is to build, be better. And you come back and you test again when you come back in the fall. You know, we want to show improvement. And I think what, you know, Lucas, the other thing he didn't mention is he's always on the ice. We have our ice in all the time. So our kids, a typical day might be before school, some of the kids will go to the weight room to work out on their own, or they'll go to the rink and they'll skate at lunchtime, sometimes during their free periods. So they're going to do that. You know, we never miss school, so they're going to get their schoolwork done, come to practice. We're never going to, you know, miss study hall for practice. And so it's a pretty structured day, but you get a little time. We'll go like a Monday as a work day. We're going to work out hard. We're going to go do our strength and conditioning. They're going to go to dinner, have a little time, maybe go to the student center, a little social time, and then go to their study hall to get the work done. And it's kind of every day, great structure, good hard work, and a little time to spend with your friends.
Great, thank you. Coach Cormier, a question for you, and you may not have the answer. Are you looking for point guards for the 21-22 season?
Absolutely, absolutely. We usually hold about 2 to 3 point guards at least on our varsity program. Like I said, point guards, they have that basketball mind and that high IQ and can oftentimes do a lot of things well on the floor, pass, shoot, and drive. And guys that do that well are guys that we look for in our program.
Great, thank you very much. Question, and I get this is a very broad question, so Ms. Viana, I'll give it to you, and then you can certainly ask for help. Question is, what does a typical practice look like? I know there's a lot of answers to that question, but go ahead.
Sure. I mean, I think it would, starts after school. They would start with some stretching, some dynamics, and then they might go into individual skills and drills, and then they'll probably do some teamwork, and then they might incorporate some sort of scrimmaging, live playing. I actually think I'm going to ask Casey. He does a really nice job. He's very organized with his practice plan. So if he wouldn't mind jumping in.
Sure. So for our practices with the soccer team, the captains will take the team around and do a dynamic stretch and sometimes even a little static stretch, especially if we're on a Thursday after a game. And then we always start our practices with about 5 to 10 minutes of skills, very specifically passing. And we usually will scaffold up to a little bit more challenging passing and receiving drills. And then we always go into some larger skill or tactical drills. And then every day we finish with some type of game, whether it's full field, half field, or even just a small game for the kids to have some fun, but also compete a bit.
Great. Coach FTOREK, actually, next question's for you as well. So as a fall sport, do you help new students transition in terms of, being new to boarding school, being new to Cushing? Is that part of what you talk to kids about as well?
Without question. Last summer, I actually started having returning players reach out to incoming players just to have a face and a name to kind of gravitate to when you get here for preseason. But I think preseason in the fall is a huge way to get acclimated to boarding school. You kind of have a group right away that you're familiar with, you're getting used to the routine. And we also, in preseason in the fall, we have a couple of sessions on the field, but we also do a team meeting at night, which is really helpful for things like something as simple as get to know you activities with the kids, or more aggressive team bonding, where we're diving into a little bit deeper cultural or kind of personal history type stuff. And then obviously tactically as well for those first 4 or 5 days for preseason. So I think that fall preseason is really, really helpful to get kids acclimated to what they're going to be facing for that transition period to Cushing.
Great, thank you very much. Question for Coach Koppelbeck. Two-part question. First is, if I'm a beginner golfer, is it okay for me to participate? And second, curious where the team holds its games and practices.
Sure, yeah. Anyone is invited to tryouts. Normally we can only carry about 11 student athletes on our team. But if you're passionate about golf, we will find a way to work with you somehow, whether it be, just getting you better with the practice nets or getting you out on the practice range, to become a better golfer. We play at Oak Hill Country Club, which is in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, about 10 minutes away. And we also, we play at a lot of the best courses around Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Connecticut, when we play other teams. So, it's a great program. You get to play great courses, and you're playing golf. There's nothing better when you practice something that you compete at and really strive and notice yourself getting better. Golf's one of those games where you can see improvement really fast. And if you're willing to put in the time and the effort, you will get better, and that's a guarantee.
Great. Thank you very much. Ms. Viana, a question about varsity, junior varsity teams, and it may be different per sport, but I'll let you answer it. How do students get selected on varsity or junior varsity? How does that process work?
Sure, I'll answer that, and then I'm going to throw it over to Steve because I think there's another question in there about VA, VB, and JV. So JV is, like I said, is more developmental. They're learning how to play the sport, or they're just developing more their skills more. Maybe it's the first time they've been on a team. And like I said, maybe it's the first time that they're trying out the sport. For varsity, they're generally experienced players. So, they've played when they were younger, they played in middle school, and they're looking to develop their skills when they get here to varsity. So Steve, I'm going to throw it over to you. And I believe the question is the difference between VA, VB, and JV.
Oh, you're muted again, Steve. Sorry. All good.
Our varsity A team is made up of, a lot of players that we've recruited in, and also of players that have come in and worked their way up from the lower levels. Okay, so the varsity B team, both of our teams, we call them both varsity because they're both high-level teams. And for example, this year we have 4 guys up on our varsity that played varsity B last year. So we like to bring our players in young so they can invest in the school, we can invest in them. They get into our culture for several years and learn the proud, how the pride that all our players have. So, and then our JV team is, again, some first year players and a lot of players that just love playing hockey and want to have fun, but a lot of them have goals to make it to the next level. So we're evaluating every single day. Again, as I said, we want to help every one of our players in our program embrace their potential and have a great experience. So our varsity team, in a nutshell, is made up of, high level, international level kids. Our varsity B kids is made up of high level kids with big dreams that work every day that want to get there. And our JV team is made up of a bunch of players that love to play hockey and, have dreams of their own to try to get to the next level.
Steve, we'll stay on you for a minute because I have 2 or 3 questions here about hockey. Can you estimate typically how many people try out in a season for the VA, for the varsity A team?
Yeah, for the varsity A team, we probably have 30 try out. We try to limit the amount of kids that we have come in. We want to try to communicate with everyone coming in so that we know how many we have. But I'd say around 30, maybe 30 for the varsity B team too. If you're thinking about coming this year, we have a lot of openings. Our varsity B team graduated a lot of guys. We were a little thin this year. Our varsity A team, we have 6 forwards leaving and 4 defensemen. So, and then the JV team, there's a lot of openings there as well. So yeah, 30 is a pretty good number.
Okay. Next question for you, Coach Jacobs, is do you attend showcases?
I do attend showcases. It's been a COVID year, so there haven't been as many, but I'm always out in the rinks. And I love to go watch players and network with different coaches and so-called advisors. So to try to evaluate talent, especially people that inquire. We want kids that want to come to Cushing. We have a great group, as I said, and I also watch a lot of video. So if you want to send video, this year especially, please send it in. Please send it in. We can get a lot out of it.
All right. 2 more, Steve, and then we'll move on. What is the most important thing? I mean, you've been a coach for, a few decades here at Cushing, had a lot of success. Many kids go on to, as you said, play professionally, play at high levels of Division I. What would you say is the most important thing you develop in your players, or have there been themes throughout? Is the question.
Yeah, I think that most of our kids are very talented, high skill level. We want those kids that are great kids that have that passion to get better. We want them to make sure they take care of their schoolwork. We don't want high maintenance players. We want great kids and great teammates. When I'm out watching players, I'm looking for body language, how you're communicating with your teammates. You can just, are you skating with your head up, all the little things and that you would normally in hockey. IQ is a big thing as well. You can tell a player that, like Coach FTOREK, when he scored the winning goal against us in the playoffs one year, he always had his head up and he had great hands. It was really easy to see his skill level. So, but beyond the skill level, we want great kids. As Coach Cormier said, you can be the best talented kid in the world, but if you're not a great kid and a great teammate, then we're really not going to be interested in you.
Great. I love that little dig there too.
You've heard it before many times.
Last question. Do students come in other years other than ninth grade? I mean, can you come in as a junior or a sophomore and play at a high level?
Absolutely. We've had freshmen come in and play at a high level, and I saw one of the questions is, and it may be from, I know we have a couple of ninth graders on the list here that do we, you're not going to get squeezed out because we have too many sophomores and juniors. We want our young guys to come in and we provide a lot of support and a lot of development so you can get better. People, these kids, they develop at, as some are late bloomers, some are talented, really young. So we're going to give you all the time and support that we can to help you get better. So, we have a lot of repeat 10th graders and 11th graders, but we have a lot of players that come in their true class. We had one, Jackson Dorrington, who just committed to Northeastern, that came as a true freshman and was right on the varsity. And then we've had other players like, Connor Sherry, who plays for the Washington Capitals and has 2 Stanley Cups, who came in and played on the varsity B team as a freshman, and he's in the NHL. So we have a lot of opportunity at every level, and we don't care what grade you're in, how big you are. It's how good you are and how great a kid you are and teammate.
Great, thank you. Coach Cormier, a couple questions for you. Are the basketball courts and other facilities open for individual practice outside of sort of the typical, structured practice time?
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the better things about being a basketball player here at Cushing. The gym is always open during the academic day. So if you have an extended lunch or a free block, and oftentimes, one of the coaches, either myself, Coach Gattery, or my father is available to kind of work with you guys individually. We also have the shooting machine and Vertimax and all types of equipment, so you can get a great workout in yourself.
Great. And question is, over the last several years, you said you've had many players go on to play at some of the top college programs in the country. Have any of those guys gone on to do other maybe professional leagues around the world?
Yeah, before I arrived to Cushing, so the senior class in college right now would have been my first group. So I haven't had any kids that went to Cushing that have graduated from college yet. But a couple guys that are playing right now, Caleb Joseph, he's playing in Slovenia. We're in touch regularly. Jalen Adams was playing in France and doing very well. He just moved back to the G League. Andrew Shabazz is playing in Poland. Phil Pressey, about 12 years ago now, he played with the Celtics and some other professional teams. But the guys that are seniors, Greg Kwakamensa, he plays at Niagara. He has ambitions and likely will play somewhere overseas professionally. Wabisa Beatty, he's a 2-year captain at Virginia Tech. He certainly will have a professional career somewhere. And then probably the most notable is David Duke, who came here as a junior and was part of the program for 2 years. And when he arrived, he only had 2 Division I offers. And now if you look at most draft boards, he's in the top 10 or top 12 of this year's NBA draft as a junior from Providence. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Coach FTOREK, question for you. How many players are normally selected for the varsity soccer team?
Normally we would sit somewhere between 20 and 24 for the varsity soccer team.
Great. Thank you very much. Ms. Viana, question about injuries and care. If someone's injured in a sports practice or in a game, what is that process like? What are some solutions? What's the rehab like? How do they get cared for and get back on the playing field?
Sure. So a few things. Like I'd mentioned before, we have 2 full-time athletic trainers who are zipping around campus on their golf carts. So they are available. They also have walkie-talkies, and so do all the coaches. So they can certainly reach them very quickly if there's any injuries. We have great relationship with Haywood Hospital, which is very close to us. We have a relationship with orthopedic doctors. We have our own team doctor for Cushing. And if students need any rehab or prehab, our athletic trainers are trained in that. And then they'll also, they might say, go upstairs to the fitness center and just go ride the bike for a little bit, or go into the power source room today. You're going to work with them and do specific drills. So we have great trainers in place. We're very lucky. They're both full-time. So we're here to take care of you.
Great. Thank you very much. Coach INCE, question about someone who's a beginner, but likes to run just as an activity, but has never competed competitively. Is that something that, if they come to Cushing, they could participate in our cross country or maybe track teams?
Certainly. And over the years, we've had people who have joined the cross country or track and field teams as a way of getting in shape for what they consider to be their main sporting interest. So for those people who play ice hockey or basketball in the winter, many of them have come out for cross country just so that they could work on their conditioning. One of those athletes actually is now a professional triathlete. He played on the varsity B ice hockey team and played lacrosse in college. Actually, Phil Pressey, who was mentioned earlier, who played for the Boston Celtics, also ran cross country while he was here. And Zach Bogosian, who just won a Stanley Cup a few months ago, actually ran cross country his freshman year here as well. We also have a number of people who will do track and field in the spring in order to get started on their summer conditioning. So it has happened in the past that many soccer players or football players will do track and field. And the good thing about both of those sports is that people who are experienced are certainly welcome, but people who are new to the sport are equally welcome to come in, and the coaches will work with you wherever you are and move you along. And certainly over the years here, we've had people who have not had previous experience who've actually gone on to compete at a fairly high level, both here and beyond Cushing.
Great. Coach INCE, follow-up question. In your experience at Cushing, what is roughly the average 5K time for the cross-country team?
Average.
Yeah, sorry, that's the question.
Yeah. So there's quite a range. I would say on average for a boy, maybe somewhere around low 20s. But we've had people on our team who've been all the way from low 15s, 15 minutes, that is, for 5 kilometers. It's 3.1 miles. I think to be competitive in the New England Conference, I'd say anything around 19 minutes and lower usually, makes you somewhat competitive. But again, we've had athletes who've come in here and maybe they're a 25-minute 5K runner when they get here, and then over the course of several years, they've worked themselves up to a much higher level. And even those athletes who are never faster than 20 minutes at 5 kilometers, those are sometimes some of the favorite athletes I've had the opportunity to work with here. It brings me a great deal of pleasure to see someone who maybe starts off as a 35-minute 5K runner work their way down to 30 minutes. And again, like I mentioned earlier, it brings me even greater pleasure to see someone who perhaps didn't have much success while they were here come back after 10 years and say, hey, coach, I finished my second marathon, or, I'm running regularly and racing regularly now.
Great. Coach Suchanek, a couple questions for you. The first is that, can you talk, it seems like many of the coaches here tonight were players themselves. Can you talk a little bit about your own career as a player? And then there's a second half to that question, which is how does that inform the way you structure your practices. So pretty in-depth question there for you to take.
Sure. Thank you. I feel very fortunate. I'm the son of a coach who was a longtime educator and coach out in Western Massachusetts. My dad's moving on to his 50th year coaching. So I've been around baseball. I've been around athletics since, I was very young. So certainly it's great to have a mentor like him in my life. But from my high school career, moved on and played at UMass Amherst, where, I had goals to go on and play at that level. I was fortunate enough to make the team. But my experience was, a role player. I was playing against some of the best guys around New England as teammates. I learned a lot about baseball, but I was a role player. I played here and there. But that created a burning desire for me to really get involved in coaching and certainly move on and forge a career in this field. After I graduated, I was able to teach and coach for a little bit at my public high school, my alma mater. And then I was fortunate to go on and coach at Springfield College for 2 years. Again, another transformative experience for me where, I was able to learn and grow. And then from there, I was creating the schedule for the Springfield JV team at the time. And I called Coach Hancock, our longtime head coach here at Cushing. And, it's crazy how networking works. He said to me, "You're not related to that guy from Greenfield, are you?" In his chuckling manner. But long story short, I graduated a year later from Springfield. I had an interview here at Cushing, and here I am. And I was, again, fortunate to work with Coach Hancock for 38 years. He spent, coaching and teaching here at Cushing. So another great mentor and friend in my life. But again, how does that, the second part of that question, Dr. Burton, could you just repeat that for me?
Yeah, how does all of that experience inform how you structure your practices?
Oh, it's certainly sometimes, usually using resources. Coach Gattery is our assistant coach, great student of the game, great baseball coach in his own right. Always trying to, what is most necessary for that given practice, for that given opponent coming up next, whether it's a Wednesday and we're on a Monday after the weekend. But certainly we try to keep them high paced. We try to keep practices dynamic. And we're always trying to learn. We're always trying to make things better for our student athletes. Trying to make it the best experience possible. But, practice planning, it sometimes can be an art. Some days we just know when to, put the gloves down and pick up the fungos, and we, take a play out of Coach Kubblebeck's book and play a little fungo golf. We make our own golf course on the field and have some fun. But certainly, try to have it dynamic and have a fun time for sure.
Great, thank you. Question, and I could take this one. What is the average GPA for students? And certainly don't have that answer off the tip of my tongue, but I can tell you that there are a lot of systems in place here at Cushing to support students, even behind the scenes, which our students may not even be aware of because they're in the background and our adults are managing. So when a grade falls below a certain level, or if particular teachers notice something going on, and there are policies and processes in place where there's check-ins across our departments to know if a student might be struggling in a particular area. So, we're really working to meet each student where they are and bring them to a level of success similar to what our coaches are talking about on the athletic field. We certainly do that in the academic environment. And so, we always want our students to give their best effort, as I mentioned in the intro, and achieve their highest level of success. And one of those could be through a GPA. But certainly if that is falling, it's something that we address and work with students, create a plan. Every student has an advisor. So that advisor is brought on board. Communication with parents would happen. We also have an academic support program. So there's a lot of different safety nets and strategies in place to work with students to improve their GPA or to address maybe some areas that they're having more difficulty with, whether it be through extra help or addressing a learning need that may need to happen through academic support or other area. Something might be happening either at home or maybe with a friendship or all of those things that we all deal with in adolescence. All across the board when students are living here at school, we have all of those resources in place to be sure that we're able to address those needs as best as possible. And we can certainly connect you with our academic office or our student affairs office for maybe a more specific answer there. For Coach Franklin, how many players do you normally take for the varsity lacrosse team?
Typically, we take between 22, 25. 22 is a good ballpark estimate for most years. There are guys, however, who start off with the JV program. One of our guys, he graduated in 2019, came in, played a year JV, and he's now playing Division III college, freshman this year. To answer your question, we take around 22.
Great, thank you very much, Coach Jacobs. Couple of questions here for you, and I know we spoke about this one earlier. Ice hockey arena, so available outside of practice, even maybe during the season and in other times, spring and fall. Is that the case? Oh, you're muted again, Steve. All good.
We don't take the ice out ever. So yes, in the fall and in the spring, we have our staff up there. You just have to check in with the staff to make sure the ice is available, which there's many times that it is. So our guys get to go up and work on different aspects of their game at different times when they have free time and the ice is open. So, and that's year round, in season and out of season.
And Steve, next question. Somebody's asking, with 3 teams, do you ever make cuts at the lowest level for JV? And if someone is just a beginner, are there other opportunities?
We haven't made cuts, I don't believe. But you know, if someone's just a beginner and just learning how to skate, I think we might have had a few, especially I think a few girls last year. And what we do is we work with them in instructional. So it all depends on the amount of people we have. But normally we have the right number. We're not going to be cutting anyone. If you've played hockey before, you're not going to get cut. Unless, you know, by some strange reason we have way too many people, and then we would definitely make arrangements to work with you to bring you along, and so you're good enough to play at that level at least.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I wasn't thinking of instructional hockey, but certainly outside, so you have the 3 team levels, and then also an offering in the afternoon of instructional, if that's
exactly. Yeah, and the kids love it. It's a great way to learn the game, be part of it.
Good point. Next question. Some schools have had prospects come in and have a skate with the coach. Is this something that Cushing offers? Same with soccer and other sports.
I don't know any schools. It's against the NEPSAC rules to do that. So we will not do that. There's plenty of times that, you know, we can view players and make evaluations that we don't have to skirt the rules to do it.
Yeah, so I think it's an important, and I sort of read that question on purpose because I knew what your answer was going to be. COVID time, non-COVID time, doesn't matter. That's just outside of the spirit and certainly the rules of the New England Preparatory Athletic Council, which is the NEPSAC that you referred to.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Only a couple questions left, so thanks everyone. This one's I have a question for the students. Can you tell me some of your best takeaways from your experiences in the Cushing athletic program? So I'll let each of you take a crack at that. Lucas, since you were the last student to introduce, you want to go first? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah. So usually, like, during like a normal school year, we'll have turf nights on the weekends. So a lot of people go out to those, and you play like spike ball, frisbee, throw the football around, and just hang out with friends. And then you have like the what's it called? STEAM? Is that what? No. Student athletics team or whatever. They like create activities on the weekends for you to do, like karaoke night and all that other stuff to get you all together and have fun.
And how about part of the question too is about just your best experiences as an athlete?
I would say just like playing games with my teammates. It's always fun. You're like a close family, and you really have a ton of experience. And I think personally, my favorite was winning the walk-ins tournament my first year, which was a lot of fun.
Oh, great. Brian?
Yeah, overall being a part of a team at Cushing is really like no other feeling. You just feel like you're a part of a smaller family inside of the Cushing community. You'll spend all kinds of time with your teammates or teammates from the other team. And it's just a ton of fun to get to know students that play other sports that you might not know from your sport. And then it's always just fun to be able to get out and play.
Great. Jaden?
Definitely playing in a home playoff game is one of the most fun things I've done at Cushing. Just getting to play in front of all your peers and all your friends and playing with your teammates, and it's just a great experience.
Great, thank you. And the last question, which I'll take here, it's a question on hazing and how hazing is handled, and certainly not tolerated at all. And just to give you an idea, although Cushing is a large in terms of boarding school at almost 400 students, we have 150 employees here. So you think about that, that's less than a 1-to-4 ratio per student. There's a lot of adult eyes, a lot of communication. Over 100 adults live on campus, and so we're ever present in students' lives. And I don't know, Jaden, if you want to talk about your experience or firsthand as a student and what you've seen and being at Cushing.
Honestly, through my 3 years, I really haven't experienced or seen any hazing. Definitely not from the basketball team, or I haven't heard about it from any other teams on campus as well. A big thing about Cushing, that especially like my first year coming in, is that like the community really embraces you and just takes you in as you're part of a big family. And yeah, I honestly have never really witnessed any hazing or anything like that, where it's kind of like a brotherhood, and as a team, you don't really beat down on your little brothers and stuff like that as much as you would if it's your actual family or something like that as a joke. But yeah, no, nothing too serious, I would say.
Yeah, no, I can sort of to answer that and close. I mean, I have 3 children who attend the school, all at different levels, some at the varsity level, some at JV and across different sports, and certainly haven't had any experiences of that, both as a parent and also as a head of school. So multiple perspectives there. And you know, I know our coaches would probably say the same, as we're in regular communication. So that is the end of our program. There's still questions coming in for actually the 2 in there, both for Coach Jacobs and another one in the chat for Coach Cormier, both on sharing video. Would you say that could go through the admissions office, Coach, and then we could get that to you?
I think that's probably the best way. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can email me anytime too.
Okay.
If you look up our emails on the website, or I'm sure we'll follow up from the admission office with all of our emails. So if you want to send us direct or contact at admissions at cushing.org email, and they'll forward that along to whichever coach you need be.
Great. Well, thank you to all of our panelists tonight. Thank you to our students. Thank you especially to all of you, our attendees, for joining us tonight, for learning more about Cushing Academy. We will definitely be in touch through our admissions office with both the recording of tonight's event and some extra information. Our coaches will be reaching out individually, and we hope to see you on campus competing as a Penguin in the very near future. So thank you, everyone. Have a good night, and we hope to see you again soon.